Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Mike Show. Today's guest is a social media producer for The Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal. You can also find him making videos and live streaming on TikTok under his handle LIFEOFATACO. I'm very interested in talking to someone who has experienced both creating content for others and creating content for themselves. So without further ado, please welcome Jose Cruz. How are you?
I am doing good. Happy it's the weekend.
Yeah, same. Are you in Los Angeles?
Yeah, so I've been just working nonstop. So I'm just really happy it's the weekend.
Yeah. Do you work like Monday through Friday, or are you kind of just on call all the time?
I do Monday to Friday, so I have like a 9 to 5 basically. I do socials for a game show, so I'm just like busy.
Yeah, I bet. I was telling Natalie, because all our other interviews have been like content creators in terms of like YouTubers, Twitch streamers. I was like, I would really love to talk to like a producer or someone who like deals with all these people, so I could get kind of a behind the scenes look at that world.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Would you prefer I call you Taco or Jose?
I prefer Jose now.
Okay.
Taco's
all
the
right.
nickname.
Jose it is. Okay, well, tell me a little bit about how you got into social media producing.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in social media myself. Like when Instagram came out, like I remember like in college I'm just like, cool, I like taking photos, and like before it used to be all photos back in the day. So I just got into it, and as more stuff came out, I was into YouTube, I was into Twitter, like now TikTok. But I've always, like, before I used to do editing, that was kind of like my main thing, but like social media was always kind of like on the side end of like, wait, I actually like creating content instead of just editing. And I found that like I'm pretty good at like creating just like small format stuff, and I just kind of played into it, and then now I'm in it, so it's been fun trying to work in it. So
how long have you been doing specifically social media producing?
Since the pandemic, honestly. So like I was still doing editing, but like during the, like once the pandemic hit, it was like 2020, and I was like, I don't know if editing's my thing. Like I've kind of feeling drained. I don't like just sitting and just working on the computer like literally like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. And I just started to just hang with friends and be like, let's create content. And I created content on my own, and TikTok kind of just like became a thing and blew up. And then people were like, well, you also do photography, like can you help us with like our social stuff? And I'm like, cool. So like during 2021, that's when kind of like delved into it more, and started going on different shoots, helping people with creating content. And then I eventually got hired at CBS, working their game shows, and now I'm doing content for them. And it's like, okay, this is like the real deal now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it a specific part of CBS, or like, because I know they have like 20 different networks and...
So it's like the actual like CBS, like the main network. So I'm specifically doing the game shows. So we have Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal. So I'm working on those shows.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those are great. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you work at Awesomeness TV for a time?
Yes, I did. I worked there for like since I moved out here in LA. So that was like 2016. So I've worked with them ever since. I started as a PA, and then I was like, well, I'm interested more in editing and back in the day. And then I started doing that, but then I was like, but I kind of like producing too. So I, like later on, like I worked at the My Dream Quinceañera, which is basically Latin girl's 15th birthday. And yeah, I started doing more and more on the creative side, which I'm thankful that I got to do that opportunity for a bit, even though it was towards the end, towards the pandemic side. But yeah, I worked there for a while. That's been kind of like
That's
my
awesome.
main job out here in LA.
Yeah, I'm surprised we never crossed paths because I did some jobs for them as well for a couple years. I was doing
Oh,
similar to
really?
you. Started off PAing, and then I got more in like the coordinating and producing, and sometimes just going off and they give me a camera and be like, follow our producer and just do whatever she says or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
It was a really interesting place. Awesomeness TV was run by like no other company I've worked for. I mean, their model was quite ahead of its time in a lot of ways, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely was a crazy ride from my experience. So
Yeah. Before you moved to Los Angeles, where are you from, first off?
So I'm from, well, I was born from in Mexico, but I lived in Illinois practically my whole life. So I'm an Illinois baby, Midwestern kid.
Nice.
So I live in a small town, an hour away from Chicago. I always say like I'm from Chicago because no one knows where this place is. So that's usually the case. It's like, yeah.
And what kind of inspired your desire to get into film and television production?
I think it's just the fact that I was always interested in like movies as a kid. Like my mom would say like as a kid I would always be watching like E.T. I don't know why. I just watch E.T. like I would just watch and rewatch, and then like getting older, I'm like, well, I really just enjoyed like the stories aspect of all these movies. And you know, originally I was like, well, I want to be a lawyer because I watched Legally Blonde. I'm like, but I want to be a teacher. But like all these things, it was like because I watched movies and I'm like, I'm inspired by this movie. I want to be that.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And then I realized I'm like, well, maybe that's not what I really want to do. Or maybe I just want to actually create the stories and do stuff like that, like film and TV. So
awesome. And you moved out to Los Angeles in 2016, you said?
Yes. So moved out here in 2016. I worked at like a summer camp for a little bit, but I was kind of like, that was like my sprinkle of what California was. And I was like, we're shipping down LA because that's where all the jobs are.
Yeah, no, definitely feel that. I was in a very similar boat. I was living in Oklahoma working in the limited amount of film and television we had there. And I was like, I gotta get somewhere where there's more jobs because you can't survive working 6 months out of the year in film and production.
Yeah, literally this is like not the only place, but it's like the main place where it's like there's abundance of different stuff out here to do. So
yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit about running socials for these game shows. What is the whole process like? Do you come up with a video idea with a team and then you kind of work to execute it? What's the whole process of doing this?
Yeah, so basically so what I do, I try to get as many like, not as many, but like I try to get stuff from the actual episodes that are coming out, but I'm also like thinking of different ideas to kind of like involve, because these shows are like old, not old, but like, so like Price is Right, it's been like it's 51 years now, so I'm like, cool, like I'm just joined this like old show, and then Let's Make a Deal has been, I don't even know, like 14 years now, but like I'm trying to kind of involve them, and it's like, well, how do we make this more youthful, even though like they kind of want to have like a dad vibe, and I'm like, that's amazing, I love that, but how do we make it useful for a younger audience? So that's kind of where I kind of come in, and I'm like, well, I have these ideas from what I've seen trending on TikTok or what I see on Twitter or Instagram, and kind of like collaborate with some of the talent and be like, hey, let's do this. Like, this would be so much fun. And sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, but it's honestly, we just gotta have to do some of these fun stuff. So it's like, hey, you know, what do we want to do? What do we want to get out of this? So
yeah, it's wild having to run socials for such a legacy institution like Price is Right. Something that's been around 51 years, and trying to like find ways to make it fresh and keep it like relevant and interesting to like, because I'm sure you guys, your demographics for that show is probably like an older crowd, but trying to you know, keep them happy, but also try to like get, you know, younger kids interested. That must be a real interesting challenge. It's
really, it is a challenge, but it's also like really fun because I'm like, it's, I always say like, we're going to be the young dad now. Like we're like the dad, we're doing all those jokes, but it's like, let's be young now. Let's be the young, cool dad. I don't know.
Right.
But I know it's cool. It's cool. Cause it's like, like this show has been going on for years and we have such a like abundance of like older audiences and like kind of like from millennials, like understand like, oh yeah, like when I was sick, I would be watching The Price is Right. I had a cup of like my noodle soup and I'd be watching that because that was the only thing that was on TV at the time.
Right. That's wild. How much content do you have to put out every week? I mean, running 2 shows. I mean, are you running all the socials?
Yeah, so I do have help.
Okay, wow. So which socials are you on?
Facebook is our biggest platform because that's like where the older audience is. So usually I'm like, all right, well, we'll just focus on just like a win from that episode because they just love watching those videos. We also have Twitter, which it's kind of like meme style. We add some videos here and there. And then we have Instagram and we do reels to do photos. And then we also have our TikTok and our Prices Right TikTok's like, all right, you're doing pretty good.
Wow.
For trying to get a younger audience, like you're doing good. So just getting content there whenever we can. So yeah, we do all the socials basically.
That's wild.
All the main ones.
Yeah, that's a lot of content to be putting out, especially it sounds like you're curating different content for every platform. You're not just like changing the aspect ratio and throwing another video out.
No, yeah, that's always a fun word. It's like I'm still editing, but it's like at least we're creating different stuff.
So like, what is the kind of like a structure of like your team for your socials? Like, how many producers or editors or other people are involved in all this?
Yeah, so I'm basically the main social producer. I have an associate producer helping me whenever I can, whenever she can, and I'm like, hey, like, can you help me out with this game show for today, getting some content out. We have our strategist who kind of like looks out and sees like, well, this is doing really good, like why don't we try that? I'm like, oh, cool. Basically it's like mainly it's like 3 people where it's like we're trying to all help each other out, but I'm the main guy behind the scenes,
right?
In charge of all. That's
awesome. Top dog.
Yeah,
top dog,
I'm like, cool guys, give me the crown.
And then I assume you have editors, right? Or are you editing the content yourself since you have the background in that?
Yeah, so obviously the episodes are edited from our editors, but when we get the content, like I'm editing in the shorter form. So like if I wanted a reel, like a win, I'm watching the episodes, I'm seeing like, well, this is a really good like win, or this is like a funny moment, like I'm clipping that out myself and editing that to a real TikTok, the vertical, or for Facebook. Mainly it's
that's cool.
it.
So you're editing it too, man. That's a lot to take on.
We're doing a lot. Yeah, we're doing a lot. So it's that's why I'm like I'm always busy. Like I'm sorry, I have things to do, guys. Like so no, but it's like it's not like awful. I mean, I still enjoy editing, especially when it's like new stuff. And I like this. I love that game shows now because it's like, well, we're always showing wins, because that's what we want to like appeal to people. It's like, well, this person won a trip, or this person won a car, and it's always like a good vibe where it's like, I feel so happy they won. Like, especially a lot of people that go on, they have like incredible stories, and they're just like, I wanted them to win, and I'm so happy they won this like $10,000. Like, oh my gosh, what a life changing like thing to happen to them. So it's always fun.
That's awesome. It sounds like you found a place that you're really passionate, and you're getting to use your editing chops and also producing. So
yeah, it's really cool. It's neat here.
What are some challenges that you face running social media? Like I would think that it's a lot different coming out from a film and television background, like because you get like direct immediate response, and like it's a lot different than film and television. So what are some challenges that you've encountered with doing this?
Sometimes, I don't know, I feel like sometimes there's stuff where we have to be like very careful about, where it's like, I don't know. Because I personally, I'm like, well, I don't know, like if we had challenges yet, but like, we just always have to be careful because there's. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's been smooth sailing lately, but I think we just always have to keep an eye on like how audiences respond to things. Because I mean, like with everything, you'll get love, but you also get hate, and it's like a lot of the stuff. It's kind of like, some of these are just like old schoolers where they compare, like hosts, or they compare games. They just do a lot of like, I used to be better, but like. Honestly, just kind of like avoiding all those negative comments and just kind of like hyping the positives. Because I usually like, even though it's like it's not directed to me, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything, I'm doing my job. So like, it's just kind of like, all right, well, let's just kind of show some love to the people that are showing love. But it's kind of a downer because it's like, why are you hating? Like, it's just like the constant like negativity of like, why are you like saying this model is so and so, or like why are you saying the host is so and so? Like, that's not needed.
yeah. Because I know a lot of like talent on the social side, like YouTubers and stuff. They oftentimes don't read the comments for that reason. But you being a producer, it must be. I mean, is it part of your job to read all those comments and kind of see the reception? So you can't like avoid the hate, or you can't avoid the trolls.
No, that's real. I was like, oh, okay, here's another hate comment, let's skip through that one. Yeah, I have to like I have to go. No, I don't go through like every single comment, but like I do have to read through comments to engage. That's part of the job. But like, yeah, like as much as I can, it's just like, let's just hype on the positives. So
yeah, that's interesting. I also like to explore, like, with all my guests, what kind of content do you like to watch? Like, you said you obviously watch a lot of YouTube and TikTok and all that. Like, what are some of the rabbit holes that you get down, or what are some of the, TikTok worlds that you're in?
So, I mean, I'm personally on TikTok myself, but like, I've always, I feel like I'm always on TikTok because via my job and also just personal. And I'm just like, this is like, it's a lot now. Like, I'm just like, because, like on your phone, it says like, this is your weekly like screen thing, and TikTok's like number one. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm like full on just on TikTok. But I don't know. I do like watching a lot of, on my FYP, it's a lot of like edits and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a cool edit. Like, all right, you're getting to what I like. And then obviously
we have some old audience members. So what is FYP?
Oh, FYP, it's for you page. So on TikTok, there's basically like the main page where it's going to be catered to specifically to you. So for me, it's mainly really interesting edits of like ships, which is relationships with two couples. I have a lot of cat and dog videos because I just love watching them.
That's the heart of the internet right there.
No, for real. That's like, all right, cool. There's another cat content. It's funny because I have so much like cat content myself. Like, not cat content myself, but like I have a lot of cat stuff. Like I have a cat controller, cat headphones, which I'm not wearing now, but and then I get a lot of like LGBTQ and Latino, basically stuff that's just like, that's me. So
that's awesome. And then do you have any YouTubers or Twitch streamers that you're into, or?
I'm really into Pokemon still.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
I collect and I open them myself, and I have this one user that I just like watch all the time. His name's Leonhardt, and he's a popular like Pokemon YouTuber, and I'm just like not aspired to be him, but I was like, that's cool. Like the fact that like he used to have like a I don't know what job, like really boring job for what he said, and then he started doing this YouTube, and like that's not his job, and it's like, that's cool. That's like something like kind of not what I want to do, but like aspire kind of to be. I don't know.
No, that's awesome.
I enjoy watching his content. It's fun, and it's a cool vibe.
Man, I have a friend from back home who is does similar stuff, where he does like live card openings on Facebook Live and YouTube.
Oh,
and
so
it
cool.
is crazy seeing the response that he has. Like, he has so many people watching him and like buying cards from him. And then, I mean, I'm not gonna say his name, but I talked to him a little bit about like the financial side of it. I was like, dude, how much are you making doing all this? He is getting close to like 6 figures a year doing just Pokemon card selling. And I'm like, and to be honest, he's not even like the top tier. Like there's other people that have way more followers. I'm like, wow, that is so cool that people are like being able to find ways to make money doing a hobby like Pokemon cards or stuff like that.
No, it's really cool. It's like, especially because it's like, this has been like, it's still going on now. It's like, oh, like it's relevant again. I don't know. Because I'm doing that kind of with like TikTok, and like I'm always shocked that I'm like, wait, how many people are watching me opening cards? Like, okay, cool. Like this is I'm gonna keep on doing it. Like I enjoy the love, so it's really cool. Like that it's still relevant to this day.
Some person maybe our age might have a photo album with Pokemon cards that's worth $500,000. You never know.
God, that's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah. So it sounds like you do have aspirations to like, because you're working for a big company and you're managing socials for big game shows, like probably arguably the biggest game show that exists. But it sounds like you do have aspirations to like kind of do some more independent stuff, like do your own YouTube stuff and do your own maybe like streaming stuff.
So I've kind of on TikTok, I started to just do like as like everyone did, just like stupid videos, silly videos, and I'm like, this is fun, like this is a cool new thing. And then they like TikTok introduced live, and I was like, well, I never really go live on YouTube. I never really go live on Instagram because I never really saw the reason why. Like, why would people want to watch me? Like, I'm just exploring guy, whatever. But then one day I was like, well, let's just do live. And I'm trying to remember like what I think I was just coloring. I was just coloring on my live, and people were just like, oh, that's really like nice color. And then I would be like, well, do you guys want to help? Like, what color should be next? And I got engaged with a lot of these people watching, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then I kind of just started doing other stuff, seeing what other people were doing, and I started doing like my handwriting, what's it called, cursive, like writing people's names in cursive, because like everyone was like, wow, you have really nice neat handwriting. And I was like, thanks. Do you want your name in the book? And I did that for a bit, and then I kind of expanded of more stuff from like, I started doing kind of like this thing called Cahoots, which is like a quiz game kind of style thing. So it's kind of like, cool, I have like my own little game show on TikTok. Yeah, it's cool. It's like, it's funny how like I'm on The Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal, and I'm doing my own thing on TikTok. But I'm like, maybe I should be a host or something someday. I don't know. But I started doing that, and then I started seeing like, okay, I have like 300 people in my live. Okay, I have 500 people in my live. I have 1,000 people in my live. I'm like, what's going? Like, this is so cool. Like, seeing like I was like, wow, I have so many people just watching and engaging and enjoying these games, and I'm like, maybe this is my thing. I don't know. And then I started growing. Like, I had 10K, 30, 50, and I'm at like 130 or something now. But I'm like,
wow.
Like the fact that people like the fact that people just like come and like, oh, okay, there's Taco, like he's gonna be doing some Cahoots, or he's gonna play some video games, because like I did like, hey guys, we're doing like today I'm like, I'm gonna do a Pokemon live, and like, hey, I haven't done a Pokemon live in a while, but like be there, and they'll watch, because like there's so many people that just enjoy these different stuff, and I'm like, there's a platform for everyone. Like, if you want to do something, do it, like have a good time, enjoy it. And it's really cool that like I've kind of gotten a platform on TikTok where I can just, have a good time. Like, let's play some video games. Let's open cards. Let's play Cahoots or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really cool seeing how fast it all kind of grew. And I'm like, oh, cool. This is fun.
Yeah, that's such a like valuable thing. I think you just said that there is a platform out there for everyone. Like, for no matter what you like, whatever you're into, there are gonna be people out there who are also into that, and you can find them and get them engaged. And build a community with those people for sure.
No, it's awesome. It's really, really fun.
So as a producer, I like to really like to dive into money stuff sometimes. And one thing that I've actually am very kind of in the dark about is like TikTok monetization. I know how YouTube and Twitch works on monetization. From my understanding, TikTok monetization is more about getting brand deals and stuff like that, right? Or how does TikTok monetization work? I'm really kind of in the dark about that.
I'm kind of I'm also like newish to how I'm like in a program where it's kind of for the live stuff, and they started doing subscriptions where it's kind of like Twitch, where it's like people subscribe for a month and it's like, I think it's like $6 a month, and people can get money through there. But also you can get money through people gifting. So so there's like there's like different stuff like roses, sunglasses, like just a bunch of different like stuff that people can gift, and like the more cooler effecty it could be, like it's the like a higher the money or whatever it is. So like I think it's like the highest one is like a lion where he's just like roaring, and it's like a lot. I don't know how much it is, but like there's just like different kind of like ranks to like how much each one is. But that you can get money through that, because I didn't really understand it in the beginning, because people were like sending like roses and like gifts and like presents or whatever, and I'm like, what's that? Like, oh, thank you for this gift. And then I realized like, wait, this is money, like this is actual money.
So the gifts are just like virtual things, and then that translate to real money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like people were sending you roses and like stuff like I was like, that's pretty wild. Like, I feel like especially because I'm 29, so this stuff it shouldn't be like too out of my league. But like people who are 40 and 50, like they probably hear that stuff and they're like, what is going on? Like they're giving you virtual roses that translate to real dollars.
Yeah, that's how it is, and it's just kind of like their appreciation. Like, we like you so much. Here's some gifts, and then it's like, okay, cool, thanks, guys. And I see like, I did a live yesterday, and I was like, well, I don't really like. I don't personally don't go for like the gifts or anything. I'm just like, I'm here for the good time. Like, I haven't been on for a while. I want to see like where the oldies, like the followers, like the hardcores are at, and I did a live, and I'm like, oh wow, I made $10. Like, like it's, I mean, that's a McDonald's meal, but like it doesn't matter. Like it's $10 is $10. So like I didn't ask for it, but thanks, guys. Like thanks for gifting. No, like if you keep, like if you're a live creator and you have like more than 1,000, like let's say you have like 20,000 in your live feed, people will gift, and that will end up getting more and more money. And I'm like, okay, good for you. Like,
wow,
that must be nice. That's your job, I guess, doing that. But
yeah,
I mean, it's really cool how you can get money through TikTok like that. Because yes, you can get it through brands. But it's cool that these other options that they're like doing, so you can get a little extra money on the side.
Yeah, because that's the one social platform that I didn't really understand the monetization. Because YouTube, it's pretty simple. You get like 4 cents on the per 1,000 views or whatever, and then and Twitch, it's similar, like it's subs, and they give you ad revenue. But TikTok, it seemed like this kind of like almost like the Wild West of social platforms in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like we're just gonna vibe with what we can do. I know like they do pay, like they're paying like through views too now, which I'm not like, I don't want to do that program because I don't really make as many TikToks. I usually just do lives, but like you can make a good amount of money if you get like millions of views in each of your videos, and it's like, all right, good for you. Like you're making that coin.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let's kind of like vision a future, right? Envision a future 5-10 years, let's say 10 years from now, right? What is Jose doing in an ideal future? Like what are you doing more of the independent TikTok stuff? Are you producing stuff for bigger content creators? Are you still at the Price is Right? What is some of your like long-term visions for what you're doing?
Oh gosh, I always say like I hate that question, because like honestly, like I don't know, like I honestly don't really know, but like I will say it just kind of depends on what happens with things. Like I would say, like, if I'm in The Price is Right and I'm happy, then I'll be in The Price is Right for another 10 years. Like I enjoy hanging out with those people, and you know, I don't want to make CBS upset. Like, yeah, I'll be there for another 10 years. But no, fair. I don't know. It just depends. Like, honestly, like if I keep growing, like maybe, you know, doing more of my own stuff could be a thing. Like, it just depends on like what happens with all these and just all these different social medias, especially because like it's always changing. There's going to be a new one popping up in probably like the next 3 years. Who knows?
Definitely.
But things change. But I don't know. I just feel like I would love to still. I mean, I know 100%. I know no matter what, in 10 years, I am for sure going to be creating content because I just love doing it. Either if it's going to be at The Price is Right, at CBS, doing another show, who knows? Or if I'm doing it for my own stuff, like I will be creating content. I mean, I would love to do more of the film aspects because that's been my bread and butter since I was a kid. So, I mean, that would be the dream. But no matter what, I will definitely still be a creator through and through. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and CBS, we don't want to upset Business Daddy over here. Like,
no.
Keep Jose employed as long as possible.
Yes, please give me some more money if you have to. I enjoy the benefits. Like, healthcare is great. Thank you. I'll keep it. I'll stay.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like in a lot of ways that the reason that question is hard for you is because you're in a place that you really enjoy right now. So it's kind of like, as long as you keep going down this path, I'm sure, you know, whatever happens, you're going to be in a spot that you really enjoy. It seems like you're like in a really interesting world, like where you're doing all the CBS stuff, you're doing your own social stuff. How do you balance all that? Like, I would assume CBS comes first because they're paying the bills.
Money,
but then
give me the bill. Yeah.
How do you find time and balance your time to still, like, you know, do all these personal projects and do your own lives and work with other people? How do you find that balance?
So I try my best to like, I try my best to be like, this is a schedule that I'm gonna try to stick to. Because before I had the CBS show, I'm like, sure, I'll do lives every day. I have nothing else to do. I don't really have a job.
Right.
But now that like I do, I'm like, all right, guys. Well, I can't go on every day, but like I'll go on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I don't know. Like, it just depends. I have a schedule, and I try to stick to it as much as I can. And I mean, whenever I'm always like, hey, like, work is work, but like after the work hour is done, I'm not gonna like read the email. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm out, y'all. Like, we have, like, the job's great, but like there's more important things than just working 24/7. Because there's those type of people that are like, just work after their hours, and I'm like, listen, y'all pay me a certain amount, I'm good. Like, we're cutting it at this. I'm gonna do my other fun stuff. You all need a social life. I need a social life. Let's because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, working is important, but like, you also need to focus on, you know, your own life outside of work. So like I said, I do my best I can to balance it all out that way. Yeah, just really stick to my little schedule that I have. So
it does sound like you're setting very healthy boundaries with your job and trying to maintain that social life, because especially in our industry, when we're working just like sometimes crazy hours, and you know, and when, you know, emails never stop, it can be really easy to just live in your work, and that personally, that's something I'm trying to get better about too, because I have like you, I have a full-time job that pays the bills, but then I also do the podcasting and then side projects, so you really have to like find a way to balance that and not just like completely ignore your actual life and your friends and your, you know, your social life. And
I always say, like, you know, when it comes to doing like all these media stuff, it's like, yeah, this isn't rocket science. Like, we don't need to We're not doctors. We're not here saving lives. Like we can have these healthy boundaries, and it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be the end of the world.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've been on shoots where literally like the worst things possible could have happened, where it's like a card was formatted and all this stuff, and actually none of that stuff matters. What the worst thing that I've seen on shoots is like people getting hurt. Like I've seen grips fall off scaffolding and break their legs. I've seen like producers rushing us so hard that like people get really hurt, and like that's a lot more important than even losing a day of footage or like formatting a whole shoot and losing. I mean, you can always get more money, especially when you're working for a big network. But you can't get a new person if they get crushed under scaffolding or whatever.
Very true. 100%.
It definitely seems like you've kind of figured out a good balance though for your social life, your own personal projects and work. Do you have like a network of other producers in this, like in the social world, that you kind of like peers that you can go to if you have any questions, or are you kind of just figuring out everything through trial and error? Do you have like mentors? Or
honestly, it's been just trial and error for me. Like CBS, like we have our whole team of like different social media producers, and like that's been really great because it's like we all help each other, where it's like, hey, this is a new trending thing. Like if someone wants to try it out, it's like, cool, like I'll take that. I know a lot of them, like they're not all editors, and they're always asking like questions for editing, and like I'm helping them, and it's like, yeah, just like this used to be my job a long time ago. Let me help you out. Like these really simple stuff, but for them it's a little complicated, and it's fine. So like they're learning something new.
So all these producers are expected to edit, or is this kind of like you are an exception to the rule because you have that skill?
They can still have like outside sources, like, hey, like actually can someone edit this because it's a little too difficult for me, or like I don't really know how to do graphic design. Can someone do a graphic? Like we have other people that can do that for us. For me, I'm just kind of like, well, I already have it in my background. I personally would rather just cut the middle guy and just do it myself, because I'm like, I already know what I'm doing with the editing. So like I don't want to wait like a couple hours for something to like that's like a minute to like 90 seconds to be edited when I can just do it myself. And like that's they get that, and it also like reflects on the pay that I get, because I'm like, I have all this experience, and they're like, cool, like you can do it, when awesome, like we're gonna hire you. So I'm like, cool, thanks. But no, it's like for not everyone has to edit, but like a few want to like learn and do it themselves, because like that, like I said, like that waiting time is like, we'd rather just like not wait, like not forever, but like wait a while for some content to be ready, so they learn something new.
Right. Because I mean, as the producer, you're basically, no matter what, you're having to edit it at least on paper, or like you'll have to edit out the ideas and explain to your editor already. So if you can just like have that in your head and just do it yourself, it seems like it would be a lot more efficient for sure.
It's a lot efficient, a lot faster. So yes, it's definitely easier personally.
Yeah. That's such a crazy thing that has come from the new media world, because before, I'm sure there was like never in the film and television world a producer that was also like sitting at an edit bay. And now it's like we have producers who are producer shooter editors or producer editors. It's like now more than ever we can kind of like cross those boundaries of like, oh, I can do this and a little bit of this, and then do a little bit of this, and then go home and do my own live stuff.
Yes, exactly. I would say I'm like cool. I'm in the industry, I'm a Preditor, so I'm a producer / editor. That's what we call.
That's gonna be a great little clip, right? I'm a Predator.
I'm
just gonna be able to clip that.
Sorry, guys, but that's the term. Like we're Predators from producer editor. That's combining both. Like there's just different stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can just do them both. So like check that off the list.
When everyone's starting out in film and television, and they're just PAing, a lot of what they have to think about is like, okay, where do I want to land in this world? Do I want to go producing route, and do I want to go editing route? And I feel like for some people, myself included, when I was trying to think about that, it was really hard to just kind of like be like, I want to do this, but not do this. Like because I started off doing a lot of shooting, and then I did editing and producing stuff. So it was like really hard to kind of just be like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I think it's really cool that in the new media world, people like you have found ways to like do a little bit of everything and make that work and like actually be able to make that a career versus like a lot of people who before were trying to do that would not really get as deep in because they weren't focusing on just one thing.
No, that's like a cool thing too, because it's like, especially when you're a content creator, like you're kind of doing it all. Like you're writing a script. If you're writing a script for the video, you're directing it yourself, you're filming it yourself, you're acting in it. Like you're literally doing every single thing. And the fact that it's like, dang, like, how do we get here?
Yeah.
How do we become all these things? And like, I mean, it's great when you try to get a job, like, hey, like, here's a list of everything I can do, y'all. Like, pick your poison, I guess you could say. Like, pick the ones that you like. But yeah.
Do you feel like that's ever like some people see that though, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's saying he's doing everything, so he must not be good at anything," or and then you have to really like prove yourself.
It's like, listen, like I do it all because I'm usually the one who like I like trying new things, and I like everything that I do, I enjoy doing it, and I will try to be better at it and perfect it. Like whenever, like when I was editing, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be the best editor I can be, and I feel like I've proven myself to be a good editor and stuff, like for the stuff that I've done and like producing. I'm like, listen, I produce a lot of stuff, so like I feel like I'm good at doing it. I mean, I created my own content. I feel like I'm like a good, writing skits and stuff. I don't know. Just if people think like, oh, he does everything and he's not good at anything, I'm like, whatever. Well, what are you doing? You're watching my content.
Right.
Like, so what are you doing? You're laying in bed watching my stuff. So go ahead if you want to say that. Go ahead if you want to comment it. I mean, it helps stay engaged, right?
Yeah. Any publicity is good publicity a lot of the times with socials. That's great. Yeah, because I know I did have a little bit of struggle with that starting out because I was trying to do so many things that there were people that like, oh, you're not doing, but that's super cool that you've just been able to kind of trailblaze your own path and make it work for sure.
Yeah.
Going back to when you were working at Awesomeness TV, so you said you were doing a lot of editing there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did PAing and editing. Like what?
I did a lot of stuff. Mainly editing, but I feel like I did I did a lot of stuff with Awesomeness.
Yeah. Do you think that really trained you a lot for this job, like kind of doing these social? Because I mean, Awesomeness was for those who I guess are listening, they probably don't know what Awesomeness TV is, but Awesomeness TV was a company that kind of started off doing a lot of stuff on YouTube, and they were getting a lot of these influencers involved, and it was kind of just a channel that went viral really quick, and they got acquired by Viacom CBS and became actually a network through them. I think they got kind of acquired into like a lot of the Nickelodeon brand. Place was a really interesting place to work because like, especially coming from the Midwest, there's no really such thing as influencers out there. I mean, there are, but they're few and far between.
Probably not.
And so, and so coming to a company like this, and at first my initial reaction was kind of like, oh, this isn't really what I want to do. I want to be more in film and television. But working there did give me a lot of like insight into the new media world and like how the influencer, market really worked, and how like social clout was becoming so monetized in this world. And it was very, very like interesting to work there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely learned a lot too, like all this like new media like stuff for YouTube, and it was crazy. I always say it's kind of like Awesomeness was like not the first, but like the original kind of like influencer house, but like influencer company.
Yeah.
Because they literally like they just use a bunch of influencers. It's like, look at you. I mean, you guys were doing really well in the beginning, and they kind of like stick to that where it's like, well, let's create new influencers, and I think that's what they were trying to continue on. It's just like, let's more new content with like more newer influencers and stuff like that. So
what's your TikTok?
It's LIFEOFATACO.
You don't do like Twitch or YouTube, or do you do those as well?
I try to do Twitch, But I was like, it's too I in my head I was like, it's too hard to get like an actual audience now, because it's just like it's too many people, creators on there. And TikTok was become like, when I started doing like lives on TikTok, it was kind of just like the new thing. And then I think that's where it's like, well, my audience is here. I have a younger audience and they're mostly on TikTok. So like, why move? But I have my Pokemon YouTube channel, which I'll do the live simultaneously. So it's kind of like, well, if you missed out on the live, well, here's the video on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. So, but yeah, I mean, I used to do a lot of YouTube before, like when it was new too. I think that's kind of like I'm still doing the content stuff wherever the new place is. So
yeah, it sounds like you're really driven to be on like kind of the new platforms, or like the cutting edge of stuff, which is really cool. Jose, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me about all this. This is like super interesting to kind of see this, because a lot of the other people we've talked to are strictly on the talent side, and so being able to see someone who has both like experience doing, content for yourself, but also producing content for others, it's really insightful to be able to hear that story. And yeah, just really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, and it was fun doing this.
Thanks so much for listening. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Media U, and my producer, Natalie Roman. And if you're interested in staying tuned for more podcasts, feel free to follow us on YouTube, or you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.